Welcome, dear destiny and anointed ones. For the longest time, they thought they could hide you in plain sight. They laughed at you, dismissed you, and even tried to convince the world that you were ordinary. But the truth has a strange way of slipping through the cracks. It cannot stay buried forever. The universe has exposed what they fought so hard to conceal. You are the chosen one. And now the secret is out. They underestimated your glow, thinking shadows could dim your light. They whispered behind closed doors, plotted in silence, and even tried to rewrite your story. But destiny is undefeated. Every attempt to cover you only polished your brilliance, until the day came when hiding you was no longer possible. Their greatest mistake was underestimating the power of divine timing. Now the world sees you. The veil has been lifted. What was once rumor is now revelation. You are no longer the best-kept secret. You are the undeniable evidence that greatness cannot be denied. And the irony? In their desperation to bury you, they became the very ones to reveal you. The stage is set, the audience is watching, and your anointing is louder than any lie they told. Chosen one, step forward. You are no longer hidden. The secret is out, and the world will never be the same again. Now let's begin. Number 1. The cover-up failed. They tried to bury your identity, but destiny refused to stay hidden. They thought they were clever. They thought if they pushed you into the shadows long enough, the world would forget you existed. They tried to bury your name, silence your voice, and dim your light. But here's the truth they forgot. Destiny cannot be buried. Soil may cover a seed, but the seed only grows stronger in the dark. The cover-up failed. You see, destiny has its own timing, its own rhythm, and its own way of announcing itself. No matter how hard they tried to disguise you, your essence kept slipping through the cracks. They dressed you in ordinary, but extraordinary kept leaking out. They called you unqualified, but favor kept opening doors you never knocked on. They whispered lies about you, but truth carried further than their slander ever could. The irony is almost poetic. Every attempt to hide you only prepared you. Every rejection, every dismissal, every plot against you became the very soil that nurtured your strength. The darkness they threw you into became the womb of your transformation. And now the unveiling has begun. The light you carry is undeniable, and the world cannot unsee it. Destiny doesn't ask for permission, it announces itself. What was whispered in secrecy is shouted on rooftops. What they tried to keep underground has grown too big to contain. The cover-up failed because it was never their story to control. It was always divine. And when heaven marks you as chosen, no earthly scheme can erase your name. So here you stand, revealed, unhidden, unstoppable. Not because they allowed it, but because destiny refused to stay silent. Number 2. Prophecy fulfilled. For a long time they treated your destiny like a myth. They heard the whispers of prophecy over your life, but they rolled their eyes, shrugged their shoulders, and laughed it off. To them it was just talk, grand words with no substance, promises too lofty to ever come true. They underestimated the power of what was spoken over you, forgetting that when heaven declares a thing, earth must eventually align. But now the shift has happened. What once sounded like a dream has unfolded into undeniable reality. Every word spoken in secret, every vision dismissed as fantasy, every promise they thought was impossible has manifested in the open. The prophecy has been fulfilled. And here's the beauty. It wasn't fulfilled in silence. It happened in plain sight. The very ones who mocked you are now forced to watch the evidence unfold before their eyes. The life you're walking is the receipt, the living proof that destiny never lies. What they once doubted has become undeniable. What they once mocked has become unshakable truth. This is the power of prophecy. It does not bend to opinions. It does not shrink under ridicule. It does not expire with time. It hovers, it waits, it builds, and then it bursts forth exactly when the world least expects it. Now your life is no longer a promise in waiting. It's a manifestation in motion. You don't have to argue. You don't have to convince. You don't have to defend yourself. The evidence speaks louder than any explanation ever could. They thought it was just talk, but talk has become testimony. Words have become reality. The prophecy has become proof. And now, chosen one, you are the undeniable evidence that when God speaks, it always comes to pass. Number 3. Whispers became thunder. What they once mocked in private is now celebrated in public. At first, it was just whispers. Quiet conversations in back rooms, subtle smirks in corridors, hushed tones laced with doubt and mockery. They spoke about you as though you were a passing thought, a fragile dream destined to fade with time. They dismissed your efforts, ridiculed your vision, and labeled your persistence as foolishness. In private, they laughed. They thought their whispers were enough to drown your voice. But destiny has a way of amplifying what the world tries to muffle. The same whispers that carried mockery began to echo until they grew too loud to ignore. And somewhere in the process, the tone shifted. What was once criticism transformed into admiration. What they once scoffed at became the very thing they now celebrate. Whispers became thunder. Your journey became undeniable. The victories that followed your persistence broke through the walls of secrecy and echoed in the open. The ridicule they once spoke behind your back turned into applause spoken boldly in public. They used to roll their eyes when your name was mentioned. Now they raise their hands to say, "I knew them when." This is the irony of destiny. It forces the same mouths that mocked you to testify of your greatness. The voices that tried to reduce you became the instruments of your amplification. Thunder doesn't ask permission to roar. It shakes the ground and commands attention. And so, here you are. The subject of conversations you didn't ask for, the highlight of stories that were once rooted in doubt. What began as whispers of disbelief has transformed into thunderous declarations of respect. Because when the chosen rise, even silence cannot contain the sound. Number 4. Their lies couldn't hold up forever. Truth tore through like sunlight breaking chains. They wore the mask so well at first. Smiles painted over envy, handshakes covering daggers, compliments wrapped around concealed agendas. They built narratives about you, stories crafted from jealousy, exaggerations stitched with deceit. And for a while it seemed convincing. To the outside world, their version of you looked real. To the blind eye, their lies looked like truth. But masks are heavy things to carry. Over time they slip. Pretenses crack. The effort to maintain a facade becomes too great. And when it does, truth doesn't creep out quietly, it erupts. Like sunlight bursting through storm clouds, truth cannot be caged. It tears through the falsehoods, dissolving shadows, exposing what was hidden in plain sight. The mask slipped, and suddenly the image they painted of you no longer matched reality. Their lies began to unravel under the weight of evidence, your resilience, your integrity, your unshakable light. They tried to chain you with false accusations, but truth came like a hammer, breaking the links one by one. There's a sacred power in authenticity. It doesn't beg to be seen, it demands it. No mask, no matter how carefully crafted, can stand against it, because time reveals all. And when the time came, their disguise could no longer contain the brilliance of who you truly are. Now the world sees the difference. They see you, not the distorted picture, not the false rumors, not the mask. The lies that once seemed so convincing are now laughable in the face of undeniable truth. The mask slipped, and in that moment, their schemes backfired. Their greatest weapon, deception, collapsed under the weight of reality. And the chains they tried to bind you with, broken, shattered, gone. Because truth is sunlight, and sunlight never asks permission to shine. Number 5. The spotlight found you. Even in the shadows, greatness shines so bright it exposes itself. You never went searching for the spotlight. In fact, you were content in the background, walking quietly, building silently, growing where no one thought to look. You weren't chasing recognition, you were chasing purpose. Yet there is something about true greatness. It cannot be hidden. Even when cloaked in shadows, it has a way of calling attention to itself. The spotlight found you. Not because you demanded it, not because you schemed for it, but because what is divine cannot stay concealed. Just as a flame in a dark room naturally draws the eye, your light was too radiant to remain unnoticed. People began to see the difference, the undeniable mark of destiny upon you. It wasn't about flashy achievements or loud announcements. It was the quiet consistency, the unshakable resilience, the authenticity that spoke louder than any introduction. And when the spotlight came, it didn't just reveal you, it confirmed you. It proved what you already knew deep within. You were chosen for more. Even the shadows that tried to contain you became the very stage where your light stood out most. For the darker the room, the brighter a single spark shines. This is the paradox of destiny. You don't chase the spotlight chases you. It finds you in obscurity, it pulls you from the background, it amplifies what was always there. The greatness within you refused to stay silent, and the world had no choice but to notice. Now the stage is lit, and eyes are watching, but this isn't a performance. It's a revelation. The spotlight has simply revealed what was hidden in plain sight all along. You were never ordinary. You were always extraordinary, and the shadows? They only made your brilliance impossible to ignore. Number 6. The enemy became the messenger. Ironically, the very ones who tried to silence you ended up revealing your truth. Isn't it strange how life works? The very people who fought the hardest to silence you became the loudest mouthpieces for your destiny. They schemed in the dark, thinking their words would discredit you, but instead, their very efforts amplified your truth. The enemy became the messenger. They thought their gossip would destroy you, but their whispers carried your name into rooms you had never stepped into. They thought their lies would bury you, but those lies created curiosity, and curiosity led people to seek the real you. They thought they were smearing your reputation, but in reality, they were advertising your anointing. That's the irony of divine orchestration. Sometimes God allows the enemy to spread your story because he knows they'll take it places you couldn't reach yourself. You may not have had the platform, but your enemies did, and without even realizing it, they became the very ones to announce you. Look closely. Their criticism became confirmation. Their opposition became validation. Their hatred became proof of your significance. After all, nobody fights what isn't a threat. Nobody tries to silence what isn't powerful, and when the dust settled, those who once believed the enemy's words saw the truth shining through. Their attempts at sabotage only highlighted your resilience. Their attempt to shut you down became undeniable evidence that you were worth noticing. The enemy thought they were burying your voice, but they became the microphone instead. They became the unwitting heralds of your arrival. In trying to silence you, they broadcasted you. In trying to erase you, they wrote you into history. The enemy became the messenger, and in doing so, they fulfilled a prophecy they never wanted to see come true. Your truth could never be silenced. Number 7. You were the best-kept secret. But secrets leak when the universe decides it's time. For the longest time you were hidden, tucked away like a rare jewel in a forgotten chest, guarded by time and circumstance. To many, you seemed invisible, unnoticed, overlooked. You weren't the loudest in the room, you weren't the one chasing attention. And because of that, they mistook you for ordinary. But you were never ordinary. You were the best-kept secret. It wasn't that you lacked brilliance, it was that your season had not yet arrived. Seeds do not shout their existence in the soil, yet silently they grow roots that will one day break the earth. You were buried for a purpose, not as punishment. Covered, not because you were forgotten, but because you were being preserved. The world wasn't ready yet, and maybe you weren't either. But here's the mystery of destiny. Secrets don't stay hidden forever. At the appointed time, the universe begins to whisper your name. Situations align, doors open, and suddenly, what was concealed becomes undeniable. What was hidden in silence begins to echo in places you never thought your presence could reach. And when that moment comes, there's no force strong enough to keep you in the shadows. The same people who once overlooked you will marvel at how they never saw you before. The best-kept secret becomes the headline, the conversation, the revelation everyone is drawn to. Because destiny has a way of leaking into the world, unstoppable, undeniable, uncontainable. And when it does, your hidden season becomes your launching pad. You are the best-kept secret, but the secret is out, and the world will never forget you again. Number 8. The tables turned. Those who underestimated you now scramble to align with you. There was a time when they looked at you and saw nothing special. They dismissed your ideas, overlooked your presence, and counted you out before you even began. To them, you were insignificant, someone they could afford to ignore. They whispered that you would never rise, that your dreams were too big. that your fire would burn out before it even lit the room. They underestimated you. But destiny has a way of rearranging the room. The same tables where you once sat quietly in the corner have now been flipped in your favor. And the very people who doubted you, they are the ones now rushing to sit beside you. The tables turned. This is the irony of life. Rejection often becomes redirection, and underestimation becomes fuel for elevation. They thought they were burying you, but in truth they were watering you. Every no made you stronger. Every slight built your resilience. Every dismissal carved out space for the breakthrough that was coming. Now, the very ones who laughed at you are quoting you. The very ones who doubted you are seeking your approval. The same voices that said, "It can't be done," are now asking, "How did you do it?" When the tables turn, the balance of power shifts. It's not about revenge. It's about revelation. They see now what they could not see before. They recognize the crown they once ignored, the brilliance they once ridiculed. And because the spotlight is now on you, aligning with you has become their survival strategy. The tables turned, not because you forced them to, but because destiny demanded it. And when destiny flips the table, no one can deny the feast prepared for you in plain sight of those who doubted. Number 9. Their plot backfired. Every trap they set became the announcement of your power. They thought they were clever. They drew up plans in secret, whispered strategies in the dark, and set traps carefully designed to break you. Every move they made was calculated to stop you, silence you, and make you disappear. They believed their schemes were foolproof, that your story would end in the pit they dug for you. But destiny has a sense of humor, because every plot they created became the very platform that announced your power. Their plot backfired. The pit they dug became your stage. The lies they spread only brought more attention to your truth. The doors they tried to slam in your face became the very places you were invited to with honor. The same arrows they aimed at you ended up being the fuel that launched you forward. What they designed as destruction turned out to be construction, building your resilience, sharpening your focus, and preparing you for the greater stage ahead. This is the divine irony of being chosen. Every scheme against you is secretly working for you. The more they tried to bury your name, the more your name echoed. The more they tried to diminish you, the brighter your light became. Their attacks didn't stop your destiny, they accelerated it. Now the evidence is undeniable. Every failed trap is a testimony. Every backfired plot is a banner that waves, declaring your strength to the world. And the best part, they unknowingly became your promoters. They thought they were writing your downfall, but in reality, they were writing your announcement. Their plot backfired because destiny cannot be sabotaged. And you, chosen one, stand today not as a victim of their schemes, but as living proof that what was meant for harm has been turned into glory. Number 10. The awakening happened. The chosen cannot stay asleep. Your spirit has made the world take notice. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when the slumber ends. For a time you walked half asleep, quiet, unseen, unaware of the full measure of what lived inside you. Life lulled you into silence, trials weighed you down, and even you began to believe the lie that you were ordinary. But destiny has a built-in alarm clock, and when it rings, no force on earth can keep you asleep. The awakening happened. It didn't arrive gently. It shook you, stirred you, demanded that you rise. Suddenly, what once felt tolerable became unbearable. Mediocrity no longer fit. Silence was no longer an option. The fire in you, long suppressed, erupted with a force too powerful to ignore. Your spirit could no longer remain hidden, and the world, ready or not, was forced to take notice. The awakening is never just about you. When a chosen one awakens, it disrupts the atmosphere around them. People sense the shift. Environments are stirred. Those who once overlooked you begin to feel uneasy because something about you has changed. Your very presence carries weight. You are no longer asleep, and because of that, others cannot stay comfortable in their illusions either. This awakening was not random. It was appointed. A divine stirring that declared, enough hiding, enough silence, enough delay. And when it happened, everything around you shifted. Suddenly opportunities appeared, conversations opened, and even your enemies had to acknowledge that something bigger than you was at work. The chosen cannot stay asleep. Destiny won't allow it. And now, awakened and alive, you move with a fire that makes the world stop, watch, and wonder. The awakening happened, and nothing will ever be the same again. Number 11. Destiny spilled the tea. What they tried to keep under wraps became the headline story. They thought they could control the narrative. They worked tirelessly to keep your greatness under wraps, burying your name under lies, distractions, and silence. They held secret meetings, created false versions of your story, and tried to ensure that no one ever saw the truth of who you are. But here's the irony. Destiny doesn't do secrets. And when the time came, destiny spilled the tea. Suddenly what they tried so hard to hide became the very thing everyone is talking about. Your name slipped into conversations you never entered. Your victories echoed in rooms you never stepped into. The story they tried to erase turned into the headline that couldn't be ignored. Destiny spilled the tea because your life carries a message too big to be contained. Every attempt to cover you became fuel for exposure. Every barrier they built only made the revelation it broke through. And when it did, it spread like wildfire, fast, undeniable, unstoppable. Now the same people who once whispered about you in secret find themselves discussing you openly. What they thought would stay hidden in shadows has become the spotlight's centerpiece. What they mocked in private has become a public celebration. That's the thing about being chosen. Destiny has receipts. It doesn't let the truth die in silence. At the appointed time, it unveils everything in a way no one can deny. So yes, they tried to cover you. Yes, they tried to silence your story. But destiny spilled the tea. And once it's spilled, you can't take it back. Now the world knows who you are. And nothing will ever return to silence again. Number 12. Fear made them slip. In trying to suppress you, their fear caused them to reveal the very truth they dreaded. Fear has a way of exposing itself. It doesn't stay hidden for long, no matter how carefully it tries to disguise its trembling hands and nervous whispers. They feared you, not because of who you were at the time, but because of who they knew you were becoming. Your presence alone unsettled them. Your potential made them restless, and in their desperation to control the narrative, they slipped. Fear made them speak too much. Fear made them act too quickly. Fear made them reveal the very truth they swore to bury. In trying to suppress you, they accidentally highlighted you. The more they fought to dim your light, the more obvious it became that you carried something powerful, something divine, something unstoppable. Their fear was confirmation. You didn't need their validation. Their panic was enough evidence. They wouldn't have worked so hard to silence you if you weren't a threat. They wouldn't have invested so much energy in tearing you down if you weren't carrying something monumental. Every attempt to hide you was a confession. You matter more than they want to admit. And so, the irony played out. Their strategies to keep you invisible became the megaphone that revealed your significance. Their slip-ups became the clues that pointed directly to your identity as the chosen one. What they feared most, that the world would see you, happened because of their own actions. Fear always betrays itself. It cannot hold steady under the weight of truth. And when it broke, the truth spilled out, undeniable, uncontainable. In the end, their fear did the work for you. It exposed you. It revealed you. It announced you. What they dreaded has come to pass. The world now knows who you are. Conclusion. So here we are. The moment they swore would never come. The unveiling, the announcement, the confirmation. For so long they tried to cloak you in shadows, but destiny refused to be silent. They thought they could hide you forever, but their own schemes betrayed them. Their whispers turned into thunder. Their plots became platforms. Their fear exposed what they tried to bury. Now the secret is out. The crown they ignored is shining. The light they tried to dim is blinding. The power they denied is undeniable. You are no longer the best-kept secret. You are the revelation, the headline, the living prophecy fulfilled, the chosen one, seen, heard, and uncontainable. And here's the truth they cannot escape. When God marks someone, no man can erase it. When heaven writes your name, no enemy can blot it out. Every attempt to sabotage you only sped up the unveiling. Every plan against you only confirmed who you are. Every shadow you walked through only made your light brighter when it finally broke forth. Now the tables have turned, and the world must watch. Watch as the one they mocked rises. Watch as the one they dismissed becomes the cornerstone. Watch as the one they tried to bury grows into something they can no longer deny. Chosen one, stand tall. You are living proof that destiny never loses. The secret is out, and nothing, not even their fear, their lies, or their plots, can ever silence you again. They screwed up so bad, because now everybody knows. You've been that one all along.